Hello friends and welcome back to my channel, or welcome for the first time if you're new here. I'm Valerie Geary. This is the Book Nook. You won't find any tips for how to get rich quick here or shortcuts or hacks. I don't really know any of that. I don't know how to game the system because to me creativity is not a game. It's not something to be hacked. It's something that you integrate into your day-to-day life, something that can nourish you and be there for you when things get challenging. I think of creativity as something you can fall back on, like an old friend who's there to help you through the hard times. So this channel is about building sustainable creativity, about building a lifelong love of creating, whether it's writing or painting or art or flower arrangements or reading. It's about learning how to balance our passions with our responsibilities. And maybe we make a lot of money, but maybe we don't. Maybe we're able to quit our day jobs, but maybe we can't, or maybe we don't want to. Maybe we just chase our passion for passion's sake because it feels good. So if you're like me and you're looking to build a lifelong, fulfilling, creative practice, something that you return to again and again, if the slow creative life is what you're looking for, welcome. I'm sharing my creative journey so that you can be inspired to go out and create your own. Talk about goals for a minute. One of the wisdoms of how to be a writer is to set goals. And I have done this for most of my writing career. I have set big and lofty goals for myself. But recently I have found those goals to be very overwhelming. I have found myself to be kind of run down and burnt out. I think some of that has to do with returning to a corporate job. I just don't have as much time anymore to unwind and relax, as much time to devote to my creative passions. And so I find myself just kind of scrabbling for time, just trying to fit stuff in. And so the bigger goals have felt overwhelming. I was chatting with a friend about this and she was having the same problem. So for a while we tried to not have goals. We just tried to kind of wing it, and whatever we were feeling like wanting to work on, we did. And that wasn't working either. We just ended up not working on anything and then feeling bad about not working on our projects that we really were passionate about and wanting to work on. So the two of us were having this heart to heart. We were chatting about goals and we were saying, hey, okay, so the no goal thing isn't working, but the big goal, the quarterly, half year, yearly goal, 5-year plan, that's not working for us right now either. So what can we do? What can we do to make sure that we are taking steps to work on the projects that we love, the projects that we're passionate about, while also taking care of our responsibilities, while also leaving time for rest and for play? And we kind of hit on this idea of like smaller goals and then checking in with each other more often. In the past, I've done yearly and quarterly goals. I have checked in on a quarterly and sometimes monthly basis with my goals, but Elizabeth and I just really shrank these goals down. And we decided to set only 2-week goals and to make them very small and achievable so that we could feel like we were victorious when we sat down to work. You know, there's NaNoWriMo in November where the goal is to write a 50,000 word book in a month. That's like 1,600 words a day. That is a very admirable and lofty goal. But sometimes it's not achievable long term. Sometimes it's not something that you can keep going. I have set word count goals for myself of 1,000 words. I've done weekly word count goals of like 10,000, but we just decided to make it small, to draw down the barrier of entry so that we were excited every day to come and work on our projects. And so this is the third round of what we are calling cozy goals. And basically, cozy goals means what it means. You're setting a goal that feels cozy to you, something that is fun for you to work on, something that you're excited about. Keep it small enough to be achievable, to feel like you are winning your creative journey. I have found that the cozy goals have been fantastic for increasing my productivity, for allowing me to focus, so that when I do have downtime during the week where I want to work on something, I know exactly what I'm going to work on. In addition to the cozy goals, we have started giving ourselves bonus goals. These are goals that if we have time and energy, great, go after them. But if we don't beat ourselves up. There's no guilt. I mean, honestly, there's no guilt if you don't make your cozy goal either. You have to take care of your health. You have other responsibilities, but that's why you set only a minimal amount of actual cozy goals. Basically, you're kind of tricking your brain into like, hey, these bonus goals don't really count. These are just like extra things that I could do if I get bored. So I reset my cozy goal board for the week. It is Friday and I just finished work and it was a long day. It was one of those corporate days where you're like, okay, it's Friday, it's sunny out, the morning is chill, everything's gonna be fine. And then I was in a meeting. It was like a 30-minute meeting. And as I was in this meeting, I watched my inbox just fill up with emails that I needed to get to before the end of the day. So I have spent the past 4 hours working for someone else. And I am absolutely done with that for now. Until Monday. What am I working on? What are my goals for the week? Let's check out the board. This is kind of like a Kanban board where on the left I have the goals written down to do. The middle column is stuff that I'm currently working on. And then the right column will be where I move them to complete. The pink ones are things that I must do. Those are my actual cozy goals. The orange ones are my bonus goals. And the purple is just keeping track of word count. I have 3 main cozy goals. One is that I want to finish a draft of a short story that I am working on for a potential anthology. Do not know when that's coming out. My friend Elizabeth is kind of working on the beginnings of that, but regardless of whether or not that makes it into the anthology, I do have this funny short story idea inspired by Elizabeth's idea for the anthology. And so I have about 1,000 words written on that, and I want to try and finish the first draft of that short story or get 3,000 words. I'm breaking that down into 300 words a day over the next 10 days. I do have 14 days to complete the cozy goal, but I do like to leave a little bit of a buffer for the days that I'm not feeling good, for the days that get really busy at work, for the days that I need to sleep in, for the days where, I just want to go out in the woods and play. So that's goal number 1, write 3,000 words of fiction over the next 2 weeks. Goal number 2 and 3 have to do with newsletters that I run. One of them is my personal newsletter called Mountains and Marginalia, where I explore the messy in-between parts of my creative life. The second newsletter is A Million Ways to Be a Writer, which I co-run with Elizabeth. This is a newsletter for writers, for aspiring writers or writers who are out there working and doing their best. We are exploring all the many different paths, the many different ways that you can be a writer and succeed. So I would like to write 2 articles, one for each. Those will probably be about 500 to 1,000 words. I have the ideas for what I want those articles to be already. I just need to get them written. Additionally, I have bonus goals for making YouTube videos because I'm having a lot of fun with it and I really want to just continue to kickstart this channel a little bit and share more of my journey with you. I would also really like to outline 2 new short stories. I'm kind of on a short story kick right now. It's summer and I'm not really feeling the novel vibe at the moment, but I do still want to continue creating fiction, and so I think short stories are a good way to explore that aspect. So those are my goals for the next 2 weeks. I know the last 2 weeks, the cozy goals that I was working on, I achieved all of them plus like a bajillion bonus goals. It was just a really productive 2 weeks for me, and so I'm kind of hoping for another really productive 2 weeks. But as a human person in this world, I'm sure you're familiar, your energy levels wax and wane. And so we will see how the next 2 weeks go. I'm going to share with you how things are going with my goals, but for right now, it is 5:15. I've been sitting a lot, so I think I need to move my body. I'm not sure yet what I want to do. Maybe I'll go to the gym for a little bit. I need to go by the library to pick up some books. I think they close at 6 today. I think I can get there if I hurry. Headed to a coffee shop to do a little writing with a friend of mine. I did get up this morning and wrote for about a half hour, and I got about 480 words on a short story. It felt good to be working on that story again. It's been a couple of days since I've worked on it, so I'm trying to get back into the rhythm, into the momentum of it. I'm gonna go meet a friend
for a little bit of writing time. We don't always write when we get together. Sometimes we just sit and talk about writing. So that's why I wanted to make sure to get some fiction time in this morning. I'm hoping that at the coffee shop I can work on my newsletter goals today. Monday mornings are the hardest for me, if I'm honest. I tend to have like really nice weekends where I'm relaxed and doing a lot of creative things and just living my own little life. And then it is kind of abrupt and jolting to have to wake up early on a Monday morning to get into the office on time. That is where I'm headed right now. I did start my day at home. It is about 9 o'clock and I'm headed into the office for the rest of the work day. I did get up early this morning around 5:10 and did get some fiction writing done. I was able to write about 725 words on that short story that I'm working on. I think I'm getting close to the end. This story is a little strange. It's about a woman who finds a little pocket universe. So I'm not really sure how we're going to end this story. With short stories, it's interesting to try and wrap them up because the best short stories I think don't really end. They just kind of carry you on into some imaginary future that you, as the reader, will have to work out for yourself. And so I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that for this story, for this character. It's just kind of such a drag to shift the gears from like creating and doing work for yourself and then having to go work for someone else. But I'm really just trying to keep in mind that the work that I'm doing, the office job that I have, is helping to support my creative life. It exists so that I don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay my bills, how I'm going to have food. It exists so that I can put money into my creative business if I want. It exists as a thing of security, a net, I suppose, if that's the metaphor that we want to go with. It is there not necessarily to run my life, but to help me enjoy my life as best as I can. That, I think, is one reason why I end up getting up so early on the weekday mornings, is because I do want to start out each and every day for myself in that creative mindset, in that flow, just so that no matter what happens for the rest of the day, I know that I carved out time for myself and for my passions and for my creative soul. The thing I need to focus on today at the office is taking lots of breaks. I think for my mental health, I need to make sure that I'm setting a timer and getting up out of my desk every 30 to 45 minutes, going outside, breathing in the fresh air, reminding myself that there is a world outside of the cubicle. So that is my focus. I am hoping that today will be a little bit lighter than Friday. Friday was wild for Friday, so I'm hoping that today will be a little quieter. I do have quite a bit of work I need to get done for the office job, but then later today I'm hoping for a little bit of creative energy to kind of flow in. It's not too hot, so I think maybe Ryan and I might play tennis later today, or maybe I'll go for a nice really long walk in the park. I don't know what my afternoon and evening holds, but I am feeling very hopeful for the start of this week.
I have to be honest with you, my office job has been a lot this week. This is one of those jobs that kind of ebbs and flows in terms of work, and I don't always know what the workload is going to be like. I'm also very new to the position, and I'm still learning how to do things and feeling overwhelmed most of the time. And so it's been difficult this week to feel encouraged and inspired by the creative work that I'm doing. It can just feel disorienting to switch from like a creative morning where the time is mine and I'm working on a short story, or I'm coming up with new ideas, and then to have to get ready for work and commute and go into the office and switch into a job where I feel very in over my head. There are times when, as artists, we have to kind of decide if this is going to be a time where we sell our time, where we allow someone else to take our time in exchange for a paycheck. And I think there's value in that. And I think there's value in learning new skills at a job. But it can be frustrating to give a lot of energy to something that you don't necessarily feel very passionate about, or something that doesn't feel like your calling. But sometimes your calling doesn't pay the bills. Sometimes your passion isn't going to put food on your plate or pay the rent or allow you to have a life that you would like to live that isn't one of scarcity. And I think I'm in this place where I don't feel like I have it in me to make my art make money. But neither do I have it in me to give so much time and energy to someone else to make them money. I mean, I am making money, but the company is not mine. So I'm in a little bit of a reflective space this week, a little bit of a frustrated place, but I really do try to continue to work on creative projects and to continue to move forward with my stories or with whatever I'm working on, regardless of kind of how I'm feeling. I do want to put a little bit of caveat on that, because if I'm not feeling well, like if I'm feeling like I need to rest, I need to rest, which is why it is really important for me to be getting up early and getting into my creative projects early, the first thing I do in the day, if possible, because otherwise I am finding that with this new job that I'm at, I am giving a lot of energy to it during the day, and then by the evening, I'm tired. And I do not have the space or the mental energy to sit down and create and write new worlds and understand emotions of these characters that I'm trying to develop. So for me, the getting up early part is the critical piece in continuing to create and write and make projects and move my writing business forward if possible. Very slowly, inch by inch, because honestly, I just don't have a lot of time in the mornings. And I think that's what is frustrating to me. I want more space, a little bit more time, and I just don't have it. And I've tried different ways to kind of capture it, and it's just not there. And so I think I have to have a mind shift rather than like a productivity shift or a hour shift or like figuring out how to steal more time. There is no more time. I have wrung the day dry. So I think I need to shift my mindset, and I don't really know how to do that right now. It is Thursday. How is it Thursday? This week has been nuts. I started the week feeling very good and very confident and very just like, yeah, the workload, I can handle it. And then all of this stuff got dumped on me at the office. Some of it I knew was coming. Some of it is just, my husband likes to liken it to sipping from a fire hose. You just have to do a little bit every day and just keep kind of doing a little bit every day rather than like having an end date for a project. Like I know if I just work really hard, I'm going to get it done by this date and then I can take a rest. There's no real rest unless you would force it. So I really need to come up with some skills for how to set boundaries with myself, with the job, to say, hey, I need to rest. I need a break here. I didn't do a good job of that this week, and so I'm tired. There is good news for this week. I finished one of my cozy goals. Let me get my little slip of paper where I was writing down the word count for my morning sessions. So I got up every day this morning early at like 5 or 5:10. I haven't really managed to roll back the clock earlier than 5. If I go earlier than 5, my tummy kind of hurts. It's just too early, I guess, for my body. So 5 and 5:10, that's a good swing for me. There were a couple days this week that I got up a little bit later, but I did manage to squeeze in. So kind of was averaging 40-minute blocks of work time, of writing time. There was one 60-minute day that might have been on a Sunday. I think I wrote like 2 hours on Sunday in 2 different kind of sessions, but I was averaging about, I want to say like 600, 650 words for each session. My highest session was 743, and I finished writing the short story. When I set my cozy goal on Friday or Saturday, I can't remember. I think the cozy goal started on Friday, but when I set the cozy goal for this short story, if you remember, I wanted to finish the short story and or write 3,000 words toward the short story. That would kind of depend on how the week was going and on my energy levels. I wasn't entirely sure how long the story was going to be. I had an idea, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to necessarily say finish a short story and then it turned into this really big thing that I wasn't planning for. So 3,000 words felt like a good goal. I did finish the short story. I added 4,395 words to it, so it is coming in around 6,000 words, which is a good length. I'm really happy with it. So the first draft of that story is done. I think I'm calling it This and Every Universe for now. That might change. Also, the story itself might change. I really think that I like how the first draft ended, where it ended, how it's coming together. But sometimes with first drafts, I'm in it so deep with my subconscious and with kind of like just building out what I want it to look like that I don't always know if the connections are hitting, if the threads are making sense, if the characters are doing the things that they want to be doing inside the story. So I need to read through that and double check that everything's kind of hitting the mark, like what I was planning to do. But I'm so happy. Like even with this week being the way that it has been at the day job, I have still managed to capture enough time to finish a short story, first draft of a short story, and to add 4,395 words for the week, to write 4,395 words. And I think this is testament, just like you can get stuff done in a short amount of time. It doesn't always feel satisfying. I think that's what I'm struggling with, and what I'm talking about when I say I need a mindset shift is that it doesn't necessarily feel satisfying to just work for 40 minutes a day on something that I'm just so excited about, on words that I really love, on characters that I'm very excited to get to know. But sometimes that's all you have, and you have to make do with that. You have to figure out how that's going to feel good. I don't know yet. Hopefully I can figure it out for myself and maybe inspire some of you to figure it out for yourself in your own life. I do think that writing for 40 minutes or 30 minutes or 20 minutes a day, and that's all I have, even doing that is far less frustrating than not writing at all. I know I need to figure out a different way of doing things so that I do not feel so tired at the end of the day, but I'm not quite sure how to do that yet. But I really don't want to give up my writing time. I'm going to be grateful for the 30 to 45 minutes that I have in the morning, for the 400 to 700 words that I get a day. I'm going to be grateful for those for now. The biggest goal, the one thing that I wanted to get achieved during this span of 2 weeks, is done. And that was to finish a short story. That is absolutely done. Very excited. And so next I'm going to move into working on the articles. I do have a rough draft of one done. I'm not sure it's the one that I want to publish next week. And I have one that I haven't really even started. Or did I? I may have started it. I may have also been writing it in my notebook. Maybe my past me was taking care of future me. So my next step for the next couple days, instead of writing fiction, I'm going to be writing articles and essays for my newsletter. I don't know what to leave you with at the end of this very long day. I work from home tomorrow, which I am so grateful for because I am tired, and it will be nice to just be at home in my comfortable office, my comfortable clothes, quieter here. I don't have to interact and engage as much with other people, which is also a drain on my energy. I do have a lot of work to try and get done tomorrow, so it's gonna be another long day, but at least it will be at home and I have the weekend to look forward to. And I wish I could leave you with like a parting note of like, rah, we can do it all and have everything, but we can't. And that can be hard to come to terms with. That can be hard to accept. That sometimes when you take on something, you have to let go of another thing. And that balance isn't always something that you can achieve. I know I'm just kind of coming across as a downer at this point. I'm really not. I'm just trying to give you like a realistic picture of what it is like to have a day job and try to write creatively on a regular basis, to try and produce fiction, to try and produce things to sell. It's hard, and I know why people want to quit their day jobs. I am in this weird place where I did not have a day job for a while, and now I have one again, and I don't want to quit it. But I also just am frustrated with the lack of creative time that I'm able to get. I'll keep working on that, and I'll keep checking in with you and let you know if I learn anything, any hot tips, any ways to kind of change my mindset or steal more time during the day. I think it's time to take a little book field trip. You want to come with me? One of my favorite independent bookstores was having a sidewalk sale this weekend. I had to pop in and grab myself some books. Obviously, that's what we do here. We live for books. So I popped into this little independent bookstore and they were having a progressive sale. So the more you buy, the more you save. They also every year sell advanced readers copies and then donate that money to a literary charity in the area. And frankly, I think that's the only way that people should sell ARCs, advanced readers copies, is if they are donating the money they make. Advanced readers copies, for those of you who don't know, are books that publishers and authors give out before the book is published as a way to generate buzz for the release. So they're free books. So selling them for profit is questionable, but selling them for charity, I can get behind that. So I picked up 6 books today, 3 new ones and 3 advanced readers copies. So the advanced readers copies that I grabbed were Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda. I've read a couple of Megan Miranda books and they're always pretty fun, just thrillers. This one is about a female detective who returns to the hometown to her childhood home and the water level is dropping and some secrets are revealed. I think this sounds pretty fun. Maybe a good summer thriller. I grabbed this smaller book, Disturbance by Jenna Clark, which was Jenna Clack. I'm probably mispronouncing that name as well. I had not really heard of this one. It is about a young woman who spies on her teenage neighbor and gets involved in some like black magic, some occultish type behavior with this neighbor. It sounds pretty disturbing. Then I don't know what this is. Gardening Can Be Murder. It's just a nonfiction book about poisonous plants that have inspired mystery writers, and it just kind of called to me for some reason. There's pictures on the inside and little tidbits about gardens and mystery writers, which seems like a good combination to me. The 3 new books that I picked up, 2 of them are story collections from my favorite authors, and then one is a novel called The Killer in the Family by Gaitha Lodge. This book, I think, takes the DNA that you put on an Ancestry website to the extreme. A woman trying to find her father who disappeared several decades ago takes a DNA test, puts it on an Ancestry website, and then lo and behold, a detective knocks at her door and says, "Hey, we think your father is a serial killer." That sounds pretty exciting. And then the story collections are from Margaret Atwood and Kate Atkinson. This is a newer collection. I think it came out last year from Margaret Atwood. I don't own this yet, but now I do. Now I own this. I'm pretty excited to read some of her short stories. I'm a big fan of Margaret Atwood, and her short stories are actually some of my favorites. And Kate Atkinson is an author that I really love. I have read some of her mystery novels, the Jackson Brodie, I think, mystery novels, but also some of her more literary work. And I've never read short stories by her, but this cover looked good, and normal rules don't apply stories. I am on a short story kick, so these are fulfilling that desire to read and to write short stories. So those are the books that I grabbed from my independent bookstore today, and they will go onto my shelf, and someday I shall read them. But I am happy that they are in my life now. Look at my little sleepy dog over there. Hey, sleepy dog. One of the things I'm trying to do is get a little faster at writing these articles that I'm working on for my newsletter. I tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to these things, and I really try to like dive in and take my time and get the perfect article and all the perfect sentences mashed together. These newsletters are certainly important to me, but they are also a small part of my creative life, and I think I maybe spend a larger percentage than I need to on drafting and getting them perfect. Trying to think of it like a deadline, like I'm on a deadline, like I'm a writer in a newsroom and I just gotta get the story out there. Hoping to reserve some of my time and energy for other fiction projects or other projects that I want to work on. Yesterday morning I finished one of the articles. Today I am hoping to finish up the second. One of the reasons I've been setting the cozy goals, like the 2-week goals, the smaller achievable goals, is to make room for life's unexpected things. And this week, that has happened to me. Something a little bit unexpected has come up, an opportunity that I want to look into, and I need to spend some time doing that. And so I'm really very grateful that I have finished most of my cozy goals. I'm hoping to knock out this last cozy goal right now, and then I can spend the rest of next week working on this other kind of unexpected thing that popped up. It's just really nice to have that kind of buffer, that space, knowing that I have achieved the goals that I set out for these past 2 weeks already, but still have like a week left, this little buffer so that when life does kind of throw something at me, I am able to step in and handle it and take care of it. I'll have the energy, I'll have the time, I'll have the space. And I can still feel good about the fact that I finished a short story and wrote 2 articles. But it's been working out a little bit with the cozy goals that I've been able to get my goals finished at the beginning of the 2 weeks, and then I kind of have a little bit of a window at the end of the 2 weeks where I can work on other goals, or like this week I'm going to be working on this unexpected thing that came up. And while I haven't yet run into this, I do also see a time where maybe the first part of the 2 weeks is difficult, or I am maybe in a space where I cannot focus, or I'm not feeling well, or I need to attend to my health. Right now, I have a fresh cup of tea, and I just want to crush this last cozy goal of writing a newsletter article for A Million Ways to Be a Writer. I have an idea of what I want to write. I think I have part of it written. I just need to sit down and get it done, get it finished, really focus in. So I'm going to set the timer for 45 minutes, put in some music, and get this article written. I have completed all of my cozy goals. I finished a first draft of a short story, and I wrote 2 articles for my newsletters. It is Sunday, and I still have about a week left to try and kind of accomplish these cozy goals. But since they are done, I'm going to shift gears and work on something unexpected that came up this week and try to get that finished. I also have several bonus goals that I could work on, but there are some social things happening this week. I have some events that I'm going to be attending during the evenings. I have my office job that I have to go to. We're going to be prepping to go on a trip next weekend, so there is a lot going on this week. So I'm really glad that I was able to accomplish my cozy goals early. Setting small goals that are achievable over a short amount of time has been rather life-changing for me this summer. I don't know necessarily how long I'm going to continue setting my goals this way, but for right now, this is really working for me. And I would encourage you, if you are having trouble with big goals, with setting big goals, with accomplishing big goals, and kind of breaking it down into something smaller, I would encourage you to maybe take a look at this idea, to really set a small goal that you know will be achievable in a short amount of time. That can be 2 weeks, that can be 1 week, that can be a month. Something that doesn't feel so big and weighty and hanging over your head all the time. Give yourself those small victories so that you can build up momentum and keep moving in the direction of your dreams. Thank you so much for joining me for this writing vlog. I'm looking forward to making another one soon, but until then, happy writing, and I'll see you next time.